Hey everybody, welcome to Blabbin Bout Slabbin. Happy New Year, everybody.
Chris? Happy Hobby New Year, fellow card nerds.
Before we get into what we're looking forward to in 2025, which promises to be a great hobby year, we have to look back at 2024, which was also a great hobby year for us.
But our 2024, Jeff, has to start with probably the most exciting moment of our hobby year, which was way back in January.
Here we go. What we got?
No. Mariners, Griffey, give it.
Yes.
We did it! When we pulled the best pull of our lives, we pulled a Ken Griffey Jr. Beam Team Auto out of our favorite product, 2020 Stadium Club Chrome.
Yes, the pull of the year happened in January for us, but I wouldn't be surprised if you had told me we'd never have a better pull than that, because that was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It was great, the whole the excitement around it with our friend Short Print Today, Jake, getting that out of a box, seeing the Seattle Mariner uniform, knowing it was Ken Griffey Jr. once we saw that auto. Yeah, that was a thrill.
Yes, revealing that card, and we were all thinking, I don't think anyone said it, we were all thinking, please don't be Eloy Jimenez. Please don't be Eloy Jimenez. And we saw that Seattle S, and we're like, okay, all right, we're in good shape. But yeah, it's still exciting. I mean, here we are, we're in our 40s, and we're still talking about a card we pulled out of a pack almost 12 months ago.
Yes, sometimes my wife says, we did it, randomly around the house in honor of Jake.
So that was our pull of the year. Sadly, that wasn't the last box we opened, but definitely the best card all year. And like Jeff said, of our lives. We also had we sent a lot of business PSA's way this year, Jeff. We graded 175 cards this year with PSA, which is a lot. And I'm trying not to do the math in my head.
Yeah, that's a lot of cards. We did a lot of in-person drop-offs, which was great. Now that the Burbank show is going twice a year. We did some drop-offs there, and they also had some other in-person drop-off events like at the Burbank shop, which makes it much easier. Takes a little bit of that stress about sending some of these important cards through the mail. Yeah,
horror stories about thick cards being stolen in the mail continue to kind of drift around the hobby, and they are just terrifying and heartbreaking to read. So drop-offs are definitely the way to go if you have that option. But amazingly, of our 175 cards that we subbed this year, we got our expected grade. We call these successes 84% of the time. So that's a new high for us, Jeff.
It was. And when Chris was telling me that number, I didn't know if it was that we were sending better cards.
I think the most likely reason for that number is just lowered expectations on our part, Jeff, more than anything else.
More realistic expectations, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, that could be. But in any case, that number was really good.
Yes, that number is great, but it was certainly it was a 13% jump from last year, which is great. But it was certainly not without massive PSA failures as well. We got our first ever 6.5 on an Albert Pujols finest gold that I subbed. And I believe my note said 9 or 10. So I was slightly off on that one. Still not sure what happened, but that was brutal.
No idea.
Yeah. But we did. Let's start with some successes, some personal PSA success stories for us. One of our biggest subs, we bought an Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome rookie auto in a blue refractor. It was a BGS 9.5, and we sent it to PSA in the slab and crossed that baby right over.
Yeah. Some cards, we've talked about this before on the channel, that it behooves you to crack them out before you send them in. But in this case, we didn't have quite the stones to do that, you might say. It was a highly graded BGS card, and we thought, well, we'd rather put it on PSA to do the graded card crossover, a graded card review, I believe it's called, so that if it didn't meet their threshold, they would just send it back to us in that BGS slab, and we'd still have the high grade.
And yeah, that worked out great. A couple raw cards that we bought. We bought two finest gold refractor rookies of two of our favorite players to collect this year, Freddie Freeman and Bryce Harper. And the Freeman arrived. We bought these two. One of them was off eBay. Freeman was off eBay. And this card arrived, and it looked like it had just been sitting in the dustiest closet in the history of dust closets in the last, for 10 years. but it cleaned up and the shine was beautiful. And we gemmed that one. That was a huge win. We gemmed that on the first try. And conversely, Jeff, what happened with we bought a Bryce Harper, and what happened with that one?
Well, again, that one cleaned up perfect. It shined. It was beautiful, flawless. I thought for sure it was a 10, and we got it back from PSA, and it was not.
Yeah, I still don't know what that first grader saw to make it a 9, but Jeff and I are stubborn, as you might know.
So that was one we decided to crack out and retry.
Yeah.
And it came back a 10. So our reattempt was successful.
Yeah, sometimes that really can work. We had our most egregious example of that ever happen this year.
That's right.
I subbed an Austin Riley update SSP, the one where he's with Blooper, the mascot, and it came back a 5, and we had no idea why. So we cracked that out, and we looked at it, and we're like, I just don't get it. I wasn't sure what to do. Maybe there's something we couldn't see. So it sat in a 1 touch for about 4 months, and I'm like, you know what? The hell with it. Even my wife was like, give it another shot.
I mean, to get a 5, you have to have a pretty big issue.
Yeah. I mean, and don't worry, Jeff, I have big issues, but this card did not. And the second time through, I don't know how or why, but we got the PSA 10 the second time. So that was a huge win. And that one felt great.
Yes, and as people pointed out when we first revealed that, it does raise some concerns about the PSA grading process, and that's absolutely true. There are a lot of concerns to be had. There's not as much consistency as you'd hope for, and the fact that multiple graders can see a card that differently, that is a concern. But the bottom line is, both for resale value and card protection, I was telling Chris, you just have to play the game. So that's something you have to deal with.
Yeah, I kind of look at it definitely makes you question things, but much like my heterosexuality, the PSA's grading is not a thread I want to start pulling on.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, when we're talking about PSA, a couple of successes I had with current year cards. Now, we know that modern cards are a little bit touch and go as far as condition. The quality control doesn't seem really on point with Topps. And I've been trying to get away from the prospecting game and the really young player game, but I could not with a guy like Jackson Churio from my Milwaukee Brewers. I had to get a couple cards, and luckily I managed to find a couple beautiful raw cards, both his Chrome SSP and a Chrome Red Refractor, and both of these came back PSA 10. So they were definitely part of our PSA success this year.
Yeah, those 2 cards are beautiful. And Mad City Brew, if you're watching, don't worry, I haven't touched them, so they're safe. Churio is safe. We also, I think we have to discuss our 2 biggest PSA failures of the year. As I mentioned, Jeff and I are stubborn. We got several grades this year we did not agree with, and so we do like to occasionally try it again. And we had these 2 SSPs that we were positive were going to gem. They both came back 9s. A Freddie Freeman opening day SSP and a Mookie Betts Stadium Club SSP, the shot with the flag behind him. These cards were perfect. And I say that in the past tense because in cracking these out, we realized these were the new slabs, which have almost like a rubbery plastic. And unfortunately, both those cards, we slightly damaged them on the way out. So
I got to tell you, the rubbery plastic of those new slabs, which PSA stopped using because they had some issues with cracks appearing in them, and they went back to their old slabs. Those were the bane of my existence this year, trying to get cards out of there. And we tried many different techniques, none of which were very successful. So I'm very glad that the last couple orders we've had were the old slabs again. I just, fingers crossed that they don't go back to that rubbery slab, because that makes it very difficult to try to play the PSA game. Yes, it is. Also, I want to point out that at one point Jeff was literally bleeding from the effort of this. It's true. It's true. Yeah, my hands sweating as I'm trying to take them out. So I guess, I mean, we have to play the game, as I said, but sometimes there might be a tendency to get a little too greedy and think that this has to be a 10, and it just has to be a 10 and nothing else. And sometimes bad things happen. So do be careful if you are going that route.
Yes, we have these two cards. Right now they're sitting in one touches, and we still love them. The images are cool. The cards are rare, but they are reminders as well that sometimes we can get a little bit, like Jeff said, a little bit greedy when it comes to these grades and a little bit too grade obsessed, which unfortunately it's part of the hobby at this point. We try to fight it. But anyway, let's move on to the exciting part of this, Jeff. Let's talk about our 10 favorite Blabbin, Bout, Slabbin pickups for this year.
All right, let's get into this. So, yeah, we're going to count this down. At number 10 was a card that Chris and I have loved ever since we first saw it, but it's been very hard to find. And Chris happened to find one on Facebook, I believe. It's this Vlad Guerrero Jr. Senior SSSP from 2021.
Yeah, this is a great card, and it's by one of Guerrero's best images. It's just really, really cool.
Yeah.
I have no notes. Tops nailed this one, and yeah, like Jeff said, we've been looking for it since it came out, so 3 years. We ended up landing one, so we're very excited to have this card. I love it, and yeah, and whatever grade this, we're gonna eventually grade this. Whatever grade it comes back, we're just gonna leave it as it is.
Yep. Yeah, and it's nice as fans of Vlad Jr. It was nice to see him have a big bounce back year to show that he's really, he really could be the player we thought he was when he came up.
Okay, at number 9, we're going to talk about a card and a player that I really never thought Jeff and I would be spending money on, but that player is Derek Jeter, and the card is his 2014 Topps Chrome SSP. I believe it's called Walking Out or Walking. He's looks like he's almost floating in the air, out onto the field. And as someone told me, this might have been his last home game. Can't confirm that, but this is just a really, really cool card. Extremely rare. I think there's 5 or 6 graded at PSA. As you know, Jeff and I are going for these sets, and we needed it. And honestly, having it in hand, it looks really cool.
It is really cool, and he is a hobby legend, a New York legend. And I have to admit, we probably wouldn't have went in on this card unless it was for a set, but I'm glad that it was part of it because it was good to see in hand, as Chris mentions.
And kind of an interesting roundabout way of acquiring this. We traded this Chrome SSP. The SSP world is really, it's kind of a niche thing that we live in, and you meet other collectors that are just as obsessed as us, and they have similar collections. So this took some moving parts. We moved 3 2013 Topps Chrome SSPs, Mauer, Rivera, and I want to say Cespedes, to another collector who sent us a Pujols Chrome SSP, and then we sold that Pujols and to raise the money to buy this Jeter. So
yeah, that's a great point. These cards show up so infrequently and are so rare that a lot of the collectors that have them don't want to sell them. They only want to trade them for other SSPs that they need from these 3 years, primarily 2012, 2013, 2014 Topps Chrome. So yeah, then you have to find a way to finagle those deals, and it's not always just money talks, right? At number 8, one of our favorite players, Bryce Harper, who we've talked about many times, that Topps gives him awesome looking cards. They give him really good looking cards. And right at the top of the list is 2020 Stadium Club Chrome autos. And we managed to find a red one. Red out of 5, Chris.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is arguably Harper's best looking card. I think there are there's a base, a red, and a shimmer. And that's it. And I think that's similar to the Ohtani, Jeff. We're looking at maybe 20 total of this card. Yeah. But I believe there's 3 or 4 currently graded at PSA. It's really, really hard to find. And it's just eye appeal off the charts.
Yeah, really good looking card. And that's part of that 2020 Stadium Club Chrome set, which we talk about all the time. And
we're not done. It's not the last time we're going to mention it on this video either. Okay, that was 8. At number 7, we have another really cool image of a player that I can admit when I make a mistake. You have to when you're me because they happen so frequently. But before the season started, I personally had no Aaron Judge cards. And I don't think Jeff and I had any shared Aaron Judge cards either. No. So we needed to adjust that. Obviously, we mentioned that Bowman Chrome. But the one Aaron Judge card that I think we had our eyes on that we really, really liked was a Ghost. And we were finally able to land one. So here at number 7, we have the 2020 SSSP, which for some reason PSA calls an SSP. but that's a separate issue. This is Aaron Judge with Babe Ruth in the stands behind him. Now, obviously, this is photoshopped or edited slightly. But this is an incredible card. We got 2 Yankees. We got the guy that hit 60 home runs and the guy that hit 62. And it's crazy rare. Last I looked, there were 5 total graded at PSA. Ours is a 9. There's 1 gem and I believe 3 8s. So this is a really, really tough card to find. And that's exactly the type of stuff that kind of attracts our interest.
Speaking of attracting our interest, we've talked a little bit about red refractors already. At number 6, we've got one of our other favorite players, Rafael Devers, and this is his 2018 Topps Chrome red refractor. And he's a guy who didn't quite play a full healthy season. We expect to see a better year out of him next year, but he's one of those guys who keeps piling up numbers at a young age.
So I've heard his offseason going normally. He posted a video of him with his golden retriever, which just makes me love the guy more. But yeah, this is his Topps Chrome red refractor. It's probably, outside of the Super Jeff, his best non-auto rookie card.
Yeah.
Beautiful card, color match. We have a PSA 9. That's the highest graded at PSA. There's 1 graded below it, and that's it. The other 3, I don't know where they are. But we love this card, and we did this is a perfect consolidation storm for Jeff and I. We had a lot of sort of lower mid-end Devers cards, and we were able to sell I think seven cards to get this.
Is that what it was? I knew it was a handful.
Yeah. So it worked out. This was hopefully a success story for us. But when you sell one player to buy that player, even if they end up in a social media firestorm per se, you're going to lose money either way.
Yeah. But glad to get this one.
Speaking of really rare cards, earlier this year, one of the rarest Mike Trout flagship cards showed up on eBay in a Pop 1 PSA 10. It was his 2016 Topps update. The SSPs out of this set are near impossible to even see, more or less acquire. So this PSA 10 was sitting on eBay, and the only other copy of this we'd seen is a PSA 8, and we knew who had the 8. And as miracles would have it, the guy with the 8 wanted the 10. So we were able to work out a cash and trade deal to acquire his 8, and he scooped up the 10 off of eBay. So at number 6, we have the 2016 Topps update Mike Trout SSP.
Yeah, as Chris said, these things are so rare. They haven't stated a print run, as they seldom do, but the print run on these has to be so low. I mean, could it be 10?
When the Mike Trout has 2 known graded copies, you have to assume. I mean, what percentage should be graded? If it's 2, I mean, that's 20%. If the print run's 10, 20% of a rare Mike Trout card being graded, that feels pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's extremely rare, and Trout had another tough season from a staying on the field perspective, but he's already cemented his status as one of this generation's best players, and this is one of his rarest flagship cards, as Chris mentioned. So we were glad to get a hold of this one.
Even if he never plays again, we are excited to own that card. Yeah. It's just stuff like that gets us excited. Really rare flagship cards like that. We love them.
Absolutely. From Trout to a guy that had a tremendous 2024, number 4 is Juan Soto. And we're going back to the well, Chris, back to the 2020 Stadium Club Chrome set, and we picked up his shuffle auto.
Yeah, this is a card, in hindsight, like when 2020 Stadium Club Chrome was released, this was like, Soto had just come off a season, that COVID season, where he hit I think he hit 850. So people were really high on Juan Soto, and this card was iconic the minute it came out, and people were grabbing them up. And I still, even though it was crazy then, I still wish we just grabbed more and more, because the copies of this are just drying up. You don't see them. You don't see them come up anymore. There's a gold, an orange, a red, a shimmer, and a base. And I think the total number has got to be around 125. It can't be more than that. Just looking at the PSA Pop report, the gold and the base are just about graded around the same. So you look at the pops, you figure maybe 50 of each. Yeah. This is a really, really cool card. His Padres cards are probably irrelevant now. I think a lot of his Yankee cards are going to end up being irrelevant. It'll be the Nationals and the Mets cards. And it's got to be his best non-rookie card, right, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah. When we talk about cards that will stand the test of time, you look at rookie year cards, especially for somebody who jumps teams a lot like Soto has so far. But yeah, when you're when you dip into the non-rookie, it's got to really stand out for a couple reasons. Rare, it just can't be rarity. But the image on this, the fact that it came from that set, all of those things, it add up to it being, in my opinion, his best non-rookie.
Absolutely. And we also, every time we look at it, we kind of chuckle about the fact that Soto just got to sign right across his glutes, about 125 times. It's just, this is an epic card, an iconic Soto card, maybe the iconic Soto card.
Yeah, just the swag on this kid who was still really young when this image was taken.
Yeah, we could talk about cards like this all the time.
Yeah.
But to keep this video under 2 hours, we'll go ahead and...
It was a great pickup. Glad to have this one.
Yes, we're very excited about it. Okay, at number 3, we have a very divisive player. But a guy that I really feel like in the last 2 years, his reputation has changed or is changing. That's Manny Machado. So our number 3 pickup was this beautiful Manny Machado Topps Chrome Atomic rookie auto. And
yeah, look at that card. This design is one of the best designs of the last decade or so. This Atomic, and yeah, just look at that shine. And they're limited to 10.
Yeah, numbered out of 10. Autos are on card. He's got a cool hitting image. This is just, I think you'd be hard pressed to convince me that there's a better Machado rookie auto available out there. So we were really, really pumped to pick this one up. And it's kind of another PSA success story for us, Jeff. This was another high grade BGS slab that we sent in. We sent to PSA in the slab and they crossed it over. So we are very excited for this.
Yeah, again, it looked perfect through the slab, but because of the high grades on it, we didn't want to take the chance to crack it out ourselves.
Yep.
Only to have it come back a 9. So we did the graded card review, and yeah, this is one of the success stories. Well, we go from a divisive player to a guy who this year might have really proven himself as one of the most beloved players in Major League Baseball, and that is Freddie Freeman. We've got another Atomic, his 2011 Atomic, and this was auto. This was pretty exciting when Chris and I got this one in.
Yeah, it's no secret that Jeff and I are Freddie Freeman fans, and this was one card that's eluded us for a very, very long time. So I'm pumped we're able to wrangle one. It's a PSA 9. I believe there are 2 other PSA 9s, although I've never seen them. I assume they're all centered the same way. For whatever reason, in 2011, Jeff, Topps just could not center these refractor autos. Anything with any color on it, they're just off to the side a little bit.
Yeah, he really had an incredible season. He had to spend some time off for personal reasons. That had to be tough on him, being away from the team and being with his to be with his family. And for him to come back and have the postseason that he did, it was, as a non-Dodgers fan, I was still very happy for him.
Yeah, there's a great story on ESPN about what Freeman went through to play in that World Series right before the postseason started. Like, we know the ankle sprain turned into a bone bruise, but he also, I guess, fractured a rib taking batting practice before the postseason started. So the pain he was in with every swing was substantial. And there's a great line in this ESPN article where he said he was talking to his dad, and his dad's like, "Freddie, just stop. You just have to stop." And I guess he looked at his dad right in the eyes and was like, "I'm never going to stop." And stuff like that really sticks with me. I love this guy. I've always loved this guy. He's on the wrong team now, but I still love him. Yeah. And I was really excited to add this card to our collection. All right, at number 1, there's no suspense here. We already made a separate video about this, so we will not bore you too much. But our top pickup of the year is without a doubt the 2018 Bowman Chrome Blue Refractor Shohei Ohtani rookie autograph. It's a long title, Jeff.
It's a long title. Yeah. This is, in our opinion, his best rookie image on a card, and to get the blue, which is one that we have been after for a long time. Honestly, we didn't think we would ever be able to get it. And then when we had the chance, we did have to scramble. So made for a pretty stressful and eventful week trying to get it. But I was so happy to get it, and no regrets about any of the cards we had to give up to acquire this one.
Yeah, we had to move a couple big pieces to get it, but totally worth it.
Yeah. We mentioned it a little bit before, and also with the Trout that we picked up. With some of these cards, the grade doesn't matter as much to us. And yes, sometimes we do look for a PSA 10. It's nice to see the 10 on that label, but in some cases it just doesn't matter. We just want to have the card. And that's one of the cases.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we did mention earlier, we did have some moments of perhaps some grade greed, but it does not exist here. I would be happy if this card were a 6, we still would have bought it and we would have saved a lot of money,
Yeah.
which might have been better. One thing we just want to briefly point out, when Jeff and I were going over this list of our kind of best, most exciting pickups, we realized there's one player not on this list, Jeff, who we really, really like. And somehow we went 12 months without picking up a really nice card of Mookie Betts.
Yes. Which is hard to believe because we felt that his cards have been underpriced.
Yeah, and when that asshole hit him on the hand and broke his hand and he was out for 2 months, we were like, okay, let's go Mookie hunting.
Well, now's our
This is a great
chance.
time.
Right.
But we just didn't really find what we were looking for. So looking ahead to this year or to next year, right atop our list is a nice Mookie Betts card. And so we thought we'd conclude the video and mention 3 cards that are on our target list for 2025.
5. Yes. Already.
Ooh. All right. Which Mookie Betts card do we want, Jeff?
All right. Mookie has some really cool short prints and super short prints over the years. One that has eluded us that we'd like to find and get a hold of, we thought might appear during the World Series, but it has not. It's his Hollywood SSSSSSSP that is rarely seen. I would love to find one of those to pick up and add to the collection.
Yes, absolutely. That's probably the number one card we're going to look for heading into 2025. It's a spectacular card. It's got that. It's just really cool. It's kind of funny, but this was like his first triple S, quadruple SP with the Dodgers, the Hollywood sign, the gold bars. It's got, this thing has a lot going for it that Jeff and I like. It's weird and it's crazy rare. So yeah, we're hoping to grab one. The other 2 cards, we are still working on our Topps Chrome SSP sets from 2012 and 2014. So I would say our next 2 targets are going to be the big names in 2012. We would love to find either a Derek Jeter or an Albert Pujols. So if anyone out there happens to stumble across either of these 2 cards, please hit us up. Take full advantage of us. These are 2 cards we really, really would like to add to our collection.
Yeah. So if you have those, or there's a few others. So if you have any other 2012 Topps Chrome SSPs that you're looking to part with, we may need them for our sets. So hit us up.
Any of you out there who are big Brett Lawrie collectors back in 2012, you might have his Chrome image variation. If you do, hit us up.
Yeah. Or the Mookie.
Yeah.
But it's been a really fun year hobby-wise. We went to a couple shows, went to both Burbank shows, got to see some incredible cards which we'll never own, but it's awesome to see in person, and made some deals and got to meet a lot of the people we've met on Instagram and through YouTube. And that's one of the best parts about the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. This year we've watched our YouTube channel here grow pretty nicely. And it's really fun when we do our Thursday night lives to interact with you guys, hear what you're buying. You guys answer our questions. We try to answer yours. We're having a great time with it. And just, to do it along with you guys is really fun.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to us blab about slabs.
Yep.
So until next time, anything else you want to add, Chris?
Jeff, do we want to end? I feel maybe should we end with the immortal words of Jake, of our fellow pack ripper back in January? We did it.
We did it. Cheers.
Happy New
Thanks,
Year.
everybody.
Slabbin, power slabbin, every